Welcome to the Private Lender Podcast with your hosts from Hard Money Bankers, Jason Balin and Chris Haddon. This podcast is sponsored by hardmoneymastermind.com.
Hey everyone. Private Lender Podcast here. Chris and Jason, as always, and sponsored by hardmoneymastermind.com. Go check it out. Create a free account. See what all the private lenders are up to. Okay, cool topic today. Something I was thinking about. I don't know if you caught this yet, but I was watching a web show, and it's also a podcast, Kevin Hart's, and he had Jay-Z on, and it's done 5 million views in 3 days or something like that, right? Really good conversation. They talked about many, many cool things. One of them was Jay-Z was talking about how he came up as an artist and then made his own record label. And then he was able to do some new things like own a certain amount of his own content and have distribution rights and make his own record label when that wasn't too common back then. And then you parlay that into this venture, that venture, and he turned it into a blueprint that he taught to some of the artists coming up under him, like Rihanna and other people who have, of course, gone on to do huge things. And he's like, all right, so we figured this stuff out. Now we can teach it and everyone wins. They do better. They grow. We grow with them. And that made me think about some real estate related stuff, not the first time that sort of thing has happened. Somebody figures out a formula, a blueprint that's replicable, and then they can teach it to someone else. Like look at all the all the real estate investor training, for example, like your Armando Montalongo and what's that other one?
Fortune Builders. Rich Dad Poor Dad has a series. I mean, they all do. A lot of them do, and it's just like anything else. You could do it the easy way, you can do it the hard way. And it's interesting how when we started with private lending, there was no blueprint for private lending. There was no blueprint for hard money. Like
none that we could find.
Our blueprint was cold call every person that was 30 years older than us that had capital that they were lending out, and ask them how they did that. What attorney did you use? How did you do your loan docs? How do you underwrite? How do you do this? Like it was one-off piecemealed. And I will say that most people are very, open to share their experiences.
Generous with their,
But it was challenging. And that's why, the fortune builder stuff, it's a shortcut. And I think anytime you're in business, no matter what it is, it's in life, you should be following a proven formula of where do I want my business to go? How do I want to grow it? Who do I want to surround myself with it? And absorb whatever you can. But with that, when Chris and we've had a lot of mentors and gurus and coaches. We've multiple business coaches over the years. And we've always been infatuated with marketing because we always felt that, hey, if we could market no matter what business we're in, we'd be successful. I mean, that's literally our number one. If you ask me, what's the most impactful thing that you guys have in your business of why you guys are successful, I would say marketing. We outmarket people because we're constantly, because we want deal flow, right? We have tons and tons and tons and tons of leads and deal flow and borrower leads, so we can cherry pick the best of the best and choose the best ones. Like that's the number one thing. And we didn't know how to do that at the beginning. And one of the best events / mentorships / masterminds that we went to was Russell Brunson's Inner Circle because, it cost a lot of money, $25,000. And this was years ago. And it wasn't even the $25,000. It was also 3 days, did 3 events separately in Boise, Idaho, which is very difficult to get to. Plus it was, the whole thing ended up, it was expensive and it was time consuming. And it's funny because what we tried to get help on with our mastermind was a separate business model. But the principles and the key principles of understanding how to market for borrower leads and deals. And it wasn't like they knew how to market for hard money loans. That wasn't what it was about. It was a blueprint of marketing and building funnels and creating systems and backends and upsells and stuff like that. And I feel like that in particular was one proven system that we purchased and we devote a lot of time for that really backed out.
Yeah, it did for sure, because it was already performing in other areas, like these traffic sources, these kinds of landing pages. All that kind of stuff. Webinars, how do you do one of those? And we even did one previous to that, like early in HMB's history, where we pay some guys who are good web marketers to teach us more about paid traffic, which we were into. We need to get better at. It was early in the days of PPC. It's probably 2008 when we first started running pay-per-click. And they say that like the golden days was like 2007, right? The golden age of PPC, where everything was much less expensive, which is true. So ever since then, I mean, there's been like straight business coaching of how to run an organization. There's been a couple different marketing people we worked with over the years, and they've all had a good impact in different ways on our business and on us.
Yeah, I was thinking about another example as you're talking, the Infusionsoft consultants. We use Infusionsoft for our CRM. And if you've ever used Infusionsoft is a freaking bear. It is literally capable of doing anything from collecting emails to, having like a sales center to doing auto text and all. We utilize a good bit of it. And over the years, as we've gotten bigger and bigger, but like it was either pay, whatever it cost at the time, $5,000, $7,500, $10,000, either pay the money and have somebody, do it for you or help you with it. I remember we would build out the campaigns together as a group because, then we could edit them in real time if we wanted to, or try to wrestle that project. And a lot of people, I think in general, try to wrestle things ahead of time because they want to cut costs. And then they get to the point that it's like, you know what? It's not even worth it. Like, I'm going to do this. Let the experts that have experience do it the right way. And a lot of times, it's funny, and I don't want to go in a different direction, but I think about like a lot of times when I went to like events and stuff like that, typically you get one little snippet or like one little aha moment, and that one tip or trick, and that typically pays for everything, the cost of admission. But anyways, during this Infusionsoft onboarding thing, like I'm thinking to myself, I was like, dude, this would have been painful. Like it would have taken endless times. I don't want to do any of this crap. And in 2 days or whatever, a few days after getting the whole thing built out and showing me how to do it, now like black belt at Infusionsoft. And not that I like, want to be in Infusionsoft, and I'm not on a regular basis, but like that was an important part of our business. I mean, that was the whole back end of HMB, and it still is today. Anytime somebody inquires about working with our company, like they're on our database and they get a lot of emails and text messages and, a lot of tracking on it. So it was an important part of our business, and we recognize is that it just made sense to follow the proven formula than to try to build it out by ourselves.
100%. And that's what we've been doing for the hard money niche, because it hasn't been there before in terms of this podcast right now and the online mastermind in the book, Hard Money Secrets. It's all about how can we package this in different ways to teach our formula to those who want to learn it and execute on it and to build a business like ours or like how they want it, right? So this is all the evolution of the Hard Money Mastermind. And the next step in it is to start doing these meetings in person. Of course, this got delayed a bit. There's a whole pandemic thing going on and people weren't doing as much travel and in-person meetings, but that's what's coming next. We're going to have a 2-day mastermind inner circle. We're calling it the Hard Money Mastermind Inner Circle meeting here with us in Columbia, Maryland, right smack in between DC and Baltimore on November 3rd and 4th. We have a number of clients who we've been working closely with, other hard money lenders who are going to be here. And then we're going to have room for about 10 more lenders as well. So if you want to learn more, check it out at hardmoneymastermindinnercircle.com. I know it's on the screen now. I don't know if you're listening or watching, but it's kind of a long one. So check it out, hardmoneymastermindinnercircle.com. Like I said, we can only take about 10 more lenders than the folks we've already invited. So there is an application process for folks who are already actively lending, or, maybe they have a lot of resources and are about to dive into it, that sort of thing. So if you are interested, first of all, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. If you're here, clearly you have enjoyed some of our content and how we run a private lending business. The other people who are going to be here are running their lending business on a high level too. And so not only will you learn from us and our blueprint and our whole program, you'll learn from others too who are doing it very well.
And the point of an inner circle mastermind is to share experiences. We were talking to a private lender that we're very tight with in the Midwest, and invited him out to it. And I was like, listen, I was like, us, like, we're not just going to have anybody in this room that's not qualified or isn't worth sharing their experiences. And it might not necessarily be like, it doesn't mean that if you're not like Chris said, like, you gotta have resources or experience doing private lending, because the point of a mastermind is to share experiences with everybody. Like, this isn't about like, hey, come learn from us. We're obviously going to be research and we're going to be presenting and we're going to be doing something like that. But like, I want to hear what other lenders are doing in other markets in the country, and you will as well. There's so many different ways to run this business, and there's no right or wrong way. Today I commented on somebody in the Hard Money Mastermind group, that we run. And they said, I know a lot of you guys do the co-lending model, but I've been doing stuff where investors would just lend me the money. I give them a flat rate of return, and then I would go lend the money out as I see fit. What are your thoughts, pros and cons? People chimed in with different opinions, right? Because there's no right or wrong way to do that. People want to do it differently. We believe that the way we do it is the right way that works best for us, but you can definitely kind of change from that. So that's why, we've been involved in a lot of different mastermind groups. And like what Chris said, this is a really good extension for everybody, because a lot of people, we've got over 400 people in the Hard Money Mastermind group right now. And, the goal is to keep that growing. It's humbling / flattering when people reach out to us on a daily basis, say, thank you so much. I was looking for resources. I'm glad I found this podcast. I'm glad I found that mastermind group. I'm glad I read your book, because there's no resources available to do so. And, the joke that Chris and I always say is, if we're not talking to each other, we talk hard money to each other every day. We're both sitting in our office right now. He's on this side of the wall, right? So we'll get off this podcast and we'll start talking about hard money. We'll talk about a deal, or we'll talk about, a capital source, whatever the case is. So we might as well just publicly chat about this on our podcast.
Might as well share it. Might as well share it with those who can benefit from it.
Exactly. So the Hard Money Mastermind InnerCircle.com is the next extension to this. Instead of doing this kind of on a online basis, which has worked great, there's been a ton of benefit, but now we can get kind of a tight niche group. And like Chris said, we'll probably have another 10 spots. There'll be about 20 lenders there total. There's going to be 10 kind of open to the public. So if you're interested, again, you're the first one hearing this as of now. We haven't even launched this to our database or anything. We will be soon. What are the dates again? November 2nd and 3rd, right?
November 3rd and 4th, I believe.
November 3rd and 4th, 2022. It's located between DC and Baltimore. So you can fly into Baltimore or you can fly into DC. Very close to our office. We'll obviously do office tours. It's at a hotel, but we'll do office tours. You'll see the office. You'll meet our staff and things like that. So it'll be a good 2 full day mastermind group. So definitely take advantage of it if you have the opportunity.
Yep. Check it out. Hard Money Mastermind InnerCircle.com. And we will see you guys here next time on the Private Lenders Podcast. Have a good one.
Take care.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast. Please note that the opinions stated by all the speakers on this show are only opinions and not legal, financial, or accounting advice. Please make sure to always check with your own legal, accounting, and financial professionals. If you'd enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast, we'd appreciate it if you spread the word. Make sure to check out hardmoneymastermind.com, the #1 free community for new and experienced private and hard money lenders.